President Ramatar opens 9th meeting of the heads of Islamic cultural centers and associations in Latin America and the Caribbean. And the Commander-in-Chief formally commissions 13 new second lieutenants and 11 warrant officers. We'll have the details of these and other presidential activities in this week's edition of Diary for the period February 8 to 14. I'm your host, Paul McAdam. Plans to boost the fields of education, science, communication, and culture with assistance from the Islamic Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization were discussed when senior Islamic officials met with President Donald Ramatar at the presidential complex on February 10. According to the Islamic Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization's Director General, Dr. Abdullah Aziz Othman Atuweji, future plans for the establishment of an Islamic Educational Center in Georgetown for the training of teachers and curriculum developers that will assist government to put the strategies of education according to established policies and participate in the development of such strategies locally are being considered. He said support will also be extended to scientific research and high-performance students from both sexes and will benefit from scholarships being offered. This is a responsibility that ESCO will carry from its side, he said. There are 52 nations in the organization, which was formally launched during the 9th Islamic Conference of Foreign Ministers meeting in Dhaka, the Republic of Senegal, from the 17th to 21st of April in 1978. President Ramatar opens 9th meeting of the heads of Islamic cultural centers and associations in Latin America and the Caribbean on February 10. President Ramatar indicated his support and appreciation of the hosting of the 3-day historic event locally.
I look forward to learning more about the decisions that you will arrive at during your meeting here, because I feel that your organization represents an important layer in the process of regionalism within Latin America and the Caribbean.
He encouraged the organization to deepen ties amongst fraternal members and engage in culturally sensitive dialogue given the peculiarities of the region.
We in the political leadership hold them in the highest regard as they take a lead in bringing our peoples and institutions closer together. I'm extremely happy that meeting brings together the leaders of the Islamic organization across Latin America.
The president said he was confident of using dialogue to bridge cultural differences, but urged that there be sensitivity to these differences as they move to discard current stereotypes. Religious leaders, he said, must not be oblivious to the society in which they live.
Even a superficial review of religious literature would show that the early leaders of various religions were constantly trying to put forward solutions to the problems of their day, and many were even directly involved in struggles. We know the story about the Holy Prophet Muhammad moving from Mecca to Medina because of the whole political situation that existed at the time. It was in that process that much of the teachings have evolved. It was in the process of struggle and practice that much of the various teachings have evolved. In today's world, we probably have far more issues to deal with as compared to when most of the prominent leaders of the religious community established their teachings.
A call was also made for religious leaders to take a stand on pertinent issues which affect persons within their societies.
Today, all our religions profess fighting against poverty and injustice. This goes to the heart of every religion. Poverty harms the spirit and leads to many different types of consequences.
The fact that government is spending up to 30% of its expenditure on the social sector is a clear indication of its importance to the development of the people and the country, says the President.
We are the only country in the Caribbean where 30% of our expenditure, and I hope it won't be cut this year, 30% of our expenditure goes towards the social sector, with the highest amount going to education, because we anticipate the world we live in today, the growing role of science and technology. And that is why we are worried and we are concerned about our passes in mathematics and English and in the sciences. And these are the areas that we have to put more of our resources to ensure that our people are not left behind.
The head of state was addressing religious leaders at the recently concluded Islamic conference. He also alluded to the huge amounts spent by government on the health sector.
We are investing in the health of our people because we know that if we speak about improving the quality of life, that health is important. And that is one of the reasons we are moving to build a new specialty hospital to offer our people all the services, or most of the services, that they now have to travel abroad to get. Our housing program, creating housing for our people, is to me one of the fundamental human rights, because man will not think about the future. He will not think about science and technology. He will not think even about religion if he doesn't have a shelter above his head.
President Ramatar said that the One Laptop per Family program and the school uniform assistance and meals programs are just some of the ways in which government is moving to ensure a better overall quality of life for its citizens.
I know that there are possibly other ways that we have to look at, and we are looking at these things, to look at how we can redistribute income so that our people can have a better quality of life. And let me say this too, that it makes damn good sense to do so. Because the more you lift the income of the people, and the more the disposable income that they have in their possession, and the more they can spend in your economy, the faster your economy will grow.
You're watching The Diary, where we have been recapping the highlights of the country's president's weekly activities. More after the break. In an effort to respond more promptly to citizens, the Home Affairs Ministry has launched an online crime reporting system which allows citizens who possess or have access to cell phones, computers or other devices with internet connections to report criminal activities. Citizens can get instant access to security personnel on BlackBerry Messenger via 280-4E429. Reports of corruption can also be made on www.ipaidthebribe.com. These reports can be made anonymously. Ghana is set to achieve the goal set by the United Nations Children's Fund UNICEF of universal birth registration by 2050. The General Register Office has launched an intensive campaign. It has decentralized its services to specifically cater to the needs of residents living in the interior location. Bedside registration is also done in several public hospitals. There are now 200 registration centers operating in the 10 regions. Citizens are urged to ensure that all births are registered.
Amerindian rights to land ownership continues to be a high priority for the PBPC government. The signing of a US $10.7 million agreement with the United Nations Development Program has paved the way for the implementation of the Land Titling and Demarcation Project, which is expected to provide absolute grants and certificates of title to eligible Amerindian communities and villages. There are 97 titled villages, while 77 others have had their lands demarcated. The Ministry of Agrarian Affairs will be working to process the first batch of 33 communities for land extension and 70 for demarcation under the 3-year land titling project.
Turkish ambassador calls on President on February 12 for country's support as it contests posts on United Nations Security Council. As part of Turkey's push to secure a seat on the United Nations Security Council, that country's non-resident ambassador to Guyana paid a courtesy call on the president on February 12th.
Our embassy in Caracas is accredited to Guyana, and we have a new ambassador there, and she will be coming soon, hopefully, to present her credentials to Guyana as well. But I'm currently in Portugal, but I've been recently assigned as the special representative of my president, President Abdullah Gül, and I've been entrusted with the mission of soliciting support for our candidature to the Security Council, the elections for which will take place in October.
This is the
United Nations Security Council, and the term is for 2015-16, and the elections will take place, as I said, this October. So I'm on a mission, and I delivered a letter from my president to your president on this question, and our desire to also further promote our bilateral relations between Turkey and Guyana. We're very far, but there are things that bring us close together and common denominators, so to speak. And we also had the opportunity to discuss some of the regional issues that are, let's say, top priority issues on the international agenda currently.
An economic and commercial cooperation agreement was signed between Turkey and Guyana during the 6th ministerial meeting of the World Trade Organization, which was held in Hong Kong in December of 2005 from the 13th to the 18th. Turkey's exports to Guyana average a total of approximately $5.5 million, and its annual imports from Guyana are around $2.5 million. The Turkish embassy in Caracas, Venezuela, is accredited to Guyana. On February 12, 13 second lieutenants from the Guyana Defense Force received their badges of rank from the Commander-in-Chief, President Donald Ramotar, as they were formally commissioned in Base Camp in Ghana, Thomas Lands, Georgetown. The ranks successfully completed the Standard Officers Course number 46, which commenced in March last year with a batch of 24 students. The SOC course was developed to provide training not only for new officers but also for officers of other services. 3 of 15 officers who graduated were from the Belizean Defense Force.
Today is yet another proud day in the history of the military in Guyana. It is also a day in which the Guyana Defense Force reaffirms its fraternal relations with sister militaries in the Caribbean. This afternoon, the Guyana Defense Force graduates another batch of officers, and I am extremely pleased to note that among those who will be graduating or who have graduated today, there are 3 persons from our sister Caribbean country of Belize. I am happy for this because any cooperation between CARICOM countries takes us closer to the integration that we all dream about.
The Commander-in-Chief extended congratulations to the newly commissioned officers.
I would like to extend best wishes for continued success in your military career and indeed in your personal life. You made a fine choice in opting to pursue a career in the military. Service and protection of your country is a special distinction reserved for those who will aspire to be the finest that they can be. You have chosen a career in military service, and today you have reached an important milestone in your military career. You have done yourself your families, friends, and graduates and guardians all proud. I ask that all in attendance join me in giving a rousing applause to this graduating class.
Parents, relatives, and the guardians are also thanked by President Ramatar for instilling the ethic of service in the new officers.
I want to also thank your instructors for the part they played in preparing you for service as officers of the military.
The Standard Officers course provides a solid foundation for the subsequent professional development of all cadets entering the Guyana Defense Force. It is only an introduction to military officer training and development systems of all military and paramilitary services locally, and it must be supplemented by appropriate specialist and technical training. From the batch of graduates, Second Lieutenant Simon Gordon received the Best Student Award. Second Lieutenant Marlon Hernandez from the Belizean Defense Force, who is the runner-up Best Student, also received awards for military knowledge and Best Shot, whilst Second Lieutenant Stefan Branch received the award for Best Drill. President Ramatar presents 13 new Second Lieutenants and 11 warrant officers with their instruments of commission. The new Second Lieutenants were formally decorated with their badge of rank by the Commissioner on February 12th at the Standard Officers Course Commissioning Parade staged by the Guyana Defense Force at Base Camp Ghana. The new officers are Simon Gordon, Alvin Holidar, Stefan Branch, Dishon Harris, Kevin Solaru, Neil Ashrigo, Lavai Ford, Lawrence King, Sahid Melville, Aubrey Hitmaya, and Carlos Moore. Also receiving their instruments of commission were 11 warrant officers. The newly promoted NCOs included 2 females. They are Marlon Daniels, Zamil Thomas, Rupnarayan Badu, Halford Craig, Dwayne Lane, Sherlock Ridby, Dana Nelson, Leland Liverpool, Sherlyn Damon, Weslin Blades, and Marcio Williams. The GDF commenced training of cadet officers in 1969, and in 1981 the Cadet Officer Division of Training Corps evolved into the first officer cadet school in the English-speaking Caribbean. It was subsequently named the Curlil Ulrich Pilgrim Officer Cadet School in honor of the school's first commander. To date, the school has successfully produced in excess of 450 officers for various components of the disciplined services. More of the diary after this break.
In an effort to better their lives, more than 42,000 pensioners are currently enjoying a 25% increase in their pension. This is in addition to the waiver of the Guyana Water Incorporated's bill. And in another attempt to enhance their lives, over 8,500 pensioners are benefiting from $20,000 subsidy yearly towards their electricity bills with the Guyana Power and Light Incorporated.
Guyana as a tourist destination continues to receive international acclaim. The reputable National Geographic Traveler has named Destination Guyana as one of the must-see places in 2014. The renowned magazine said Guyana is the best-kept secret in South America with stunning natural wonders. This year, increased focus will be placed on enhancing the standards within the industry, focusing on tourism products and services, multi-destination itinerary planning, events management, ecotourism, and sustainable principles and guidelines, as well as a grading scheme which will be developed for the industry.
In this week's diary for the period February 8th to February 14th. To recap, President Ramatar opens 9th meeting of the heads of Islamic cultural centers and associations in Latin America and the Caribbean, and the Commander-in-Chief formally commissions 13 new second lieutenants and 11 warrant officers. Do join us again for the next program when we will bring you more of the President's activities. I'm your host, Paul McAdam, thanking you for joining us. Do have a pleasant rest of the week.